Motherland. Let me ask you a simple question. What would you think of motherland when you see the word? Actually, we might come from different cultures, different backgrounds, speaking different languages, but still we share the same thing, a common planet called Earth. That's our motherland, the land we live in. So, let me ask you another question. How many of you have ever lived or living away from your hometowns? Yeah, so many, right? But how do you feel like whenever you're away from home? There are different people, different journeys, different dreams. But still, we have one common connection. We live in the same land. The fresh air we breathe in, all comes from our motherland. Before I talk about sustainability, let me share you a small story that happened to me back home in the kitchen. It was actually just a small mistake that let me burn my hand. And there was a time that let me think, if this burn could hurt me and let me feel pain that much, then how our motherland, our planet Earth feels when we misuse the resources, when we being human beings are not sustainable. So if a small mistake in the kitchen could lead to a big harm, so we need to think how our daily habits that we keep on repeating living on this planet is affecting humans' life, is affecting other species, and it continues for the future generation that is yet to come. That's why we need to think how we can make our motherland, the Earth planet, more sustainable. Let's look at the governments across the world taking actions for sustainability. When you look at the graph, one is carbon peak. Carbon peak is the point when the curve reaches at its top, and then carbon neutrality is the point when the carbon emissions actually become equal to carbon absorptions on the Earth. Many governments across the world are taking action towards sustainability by increasing the green projects like electric public buses, smart waste management, and so on. Now let's look at the city we live in, Shenzhen. It's actually, Shenzhen government has taken a very leading climate actions when it comes to sustainability. In Shenzhen, climate actions are taken especially through green energy, having 16,000 electric buses, 22,000 electric taxis, smart waste management systems. But wait, this is all that is done by governments or big cities. What we need to think of, even with big governments or big cities, there's still gaps left because best of the best systems fail if people don't change their daily life habits. Even if the big cities have that gap, what do you think of those developing countries or developing cities that are yet fighting to increase their economic power, to make their industrialization better? That's why it's us, human beings, can change our daily life habits to make this earth more sustainable. That's how sustainability becomes a personal issue. It actually is part of our daily routines. Like when you go to shopping, when we are going to somewhere very nearby, but still riding the car, or just again like using those fuel engines. Also, when you're going to eat, if we waste the food, or if we don't save the electricity or water energy, or if we don't really waste if we don't dispose the waste smartly. That's the point when sustainability actually becomes a problem to our personal lives. We might think that it's not that connected to us because we live in a world full of resources. But let me share you a story when I visited a village where the road was damaged just because of heavy rain. Honestly, to me, it was just a road. But later on, when I realized the situation, it meant a lot for those habitants living over there. It was actually mean for their food deliveries. It was mean of bringing the medicines to those clinics. It was the mean for those farmers selling their crops in the market. So it actually affected the whole life for that village just because of climate change and those heavy rains. Now, another example, another story in my life when I visited a rural area where actually sustainability has already made a lot of positive effects. The family had no electricity. The children could not study in the night, but later on, due to solar panels, they could actually light up their homes. Children could study in the night. Mothers didn't have to walk further away from their homes. That's how the sustainability actually brought change in their life. Again, one thing, Earth is full of resources. Actually, it's not the Earth that's delicate. It's us, the human beings, who are vulnerable. It's not the problem of the survival of Earth. It's the problem of us human beings surviving on this Earth or our future generations. Earth is so powerful that it can absorb same amount of energy from the sun in 1 hour that human beings consume for the whole year. But it's just us human beings, depending on our option, the way we choose it. We choose to use it. Actually, before Earth gives us any strong reaction or any sort of feedback like climate change or floods or heavy rains, it's actually us leaving those footprints on this Earth. Would you imagine, we human beings are making 2.24 billions of tons of waste at this Earth annually? We every day use those single-use plastics, but till now, it's only 9% of plastic that has been recycled. We waste 1/3 of food that is produced globally that could actually feed 2 billion people in the world. That's how our small steps, those small actions taken personally, become a global problem. Talking about this, I now remember a story my father told me. How individual actions can bring a bigger change. The story is about a king who one day asked the citizens to pour a glass of milk in a tank overnight. So the minister, he arranged to put the big tank in the middle of the town and ask people to come and pour a glass of milk in the container. So each of them actually thought, everybody is going to pour a glass of milk in the container. So it doesn't really make any difference if I pour a glass of water. So imagine what happened the other day when the tank was opened. They found that it was actually full of clear water. Why? Because everybody thought others would do it. I don't need to do it. we need to be responsible for our individual actions that can actually bring bigger changes. Again, another example of bamboo trees in China. You know, a bamboo tree, it takes almost 4 years to water it, and then in the 5th year, it grows 90 feet within 6 weeks. It's not because it grows very fast in the 5th year, but it's just because it took 4 years to build those powerful roots in the earth. That's how it resembles with the sustainability. Sustainability could be slow, but once it's done on daily basis, it can be very, very powerful. So today, we're here to know what actually we can do on individual level. We all know what sustainability is, but we actually have to be sustainable humans, I call. So what we can do in our daily lives. You know, whenever we have problem with our cell phones, we don't bother to repair it. Just go for new. Or if there's new iPhone in the market, we just want to get it that one. What we should do, we should repair instead of replace. There's also small contribution towards this motherland. Or while reducing the waste, actually we should avoid producing more waste. But if there is waste, we should reduce it, we should dispose it smartly. Whenever we're going to walk just nearby to eat, we choose to walk by our feet, not just to drive. Also, the standard delivery, because it takes a little bit more time, but people nowadays, we choose to have those fast deliveries. You know, fast deliveries actually produce 20 to 50% more emissions, carbon emissions, just because the trucks or the vehicles have to move even if they're not full. If we just choose to have standard deliveries, we are helping the planet. We're helping our motherland. Also planting. Wherever we live in, we make sure we're doing some contribution to this earth. We're making it green and green. You know, one tree can actually reduce the temperature by 2 degrees centigrade in the surrounding. So this is also a big contribution. What if we don't think about this? Have you ever imagined what would happen if our future generations, they come to ask us, what did you do when the world, when the earth, when our motherland was struggling? How would you respond back? Would you say, we couldn't do anything? Or, we were too small? Or, we just ignored? Or we rather chose to say, we actually cared. We acted. We did those 2 small contributions wisely and proudly to save this motherland. Yes, as we have learned, the small actions can actually bring big consequences and also big outputs. So I invite you all to let's walk this road together to make this world, to make this motherland more beautiful, more sustainable, just like we want ourselves. I believe every one of us want to remain young. We want to remain healthy. So if we are contributing to the earth, we're actually also keeping it younger. If earth is sustainable, believe you me, it will remain the same for millions or billions of years. Thank you.